My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
Welcome back to another episode of the Girl Stop Playing podcast. It's your favorite homegirl, Coriel, here to encourage you to stop playing with your potential and start working for what you want in life and in love. You already know that I believe you can make the money and you can get the honey. You can have it all as long as you are willing to work. And today I got a working woman on the show. We are going to talk to Dana Frank. 25 years ago, Dana took the reins as general managing partner of the family company, now known as TD Frank Family Properties. Under her leadership, they expanded their real estate investments, acquiring prime properties in Washington State and Arizona. Her achievements have been celebrated with her properties featured as Seattle Times Home of the Week. And in 2016, Dana and her mother and partner, Teresa Frank, graced the cover of Seattle Times in a story titled Persistence Pays. Today, I am super excited to get into this conversation with Dana as we talk about the family dynamics of running a family business, talking about creating generational wealth, and we're going to talk about the changes that some of us, like myself, are experiencing when it comes to these hormones and this menopause. So welcome to the pod, Dana.
Thank you, Coriel. I love the title of your podcast, and I am just thrilled to talk to you today.
Thank you for being here. So I read a little bit of your bio, but give yourself a proper introduction. What do the Girl Stop Playing listeners need to know about Dana Frank?
Okay. Well, I'm located primarily in Seattle, Washington, and I wrote this book. Originally, I started working on it about 25 years ago, and so it's really been a labor of love. My dad passed 28 years ago, and I was thinking, how am I going to have my children understand the legacy of what their grandfather created against such challenging times and odds? In 1950, my father was an 18-year-old young Black man in Detroit. My grandfather told him, stay in your lane, there's less traffic, get one of them good jobs at Chrysler or Ford. And, my father looked at people getting up and 2, 3, 4 in the morning and putting in a double shift on the assembly line and coming home with barely enough of a paycheck at the end of 2 weeks to put a decent meal on the table. So he left Detroit, and he packed up his van with his dreams and his drums. He came to Seattle, and he just changed the narrative, and he made an improbable decision and negotiated and purchased his first home at 18. And that decision really changed the trajectory of 3 generations. And now my adult children and I run the business along with my 92-year-old mother. That's kind of why it's called Get Up and Get On It. And I'm just super proud because, they say that only 12% of family businesses survive until the 3rd generation. And I'm about to be a grandma in October. So I'm looking at the 4th generation and just continuing to grow.
I love that. So I have had several conversations on the show about mother-daughter issues, mother-daughter dynamics, the mother wound, the stresses of, terrible mother-daughter dynamics. And this is a pleasant conversation, the other side of things, of what can happen when you truly have figured out how to strengthen that mother-daughter relationship. And then you've been able to monetize that mother-daughter relationship. So can you talk a little bit about maybe some of those lessons that your mom has passed on to you that you have been able to give your daughter the benefit of, and just maybe some advice for moms, for girl moms out there?
Absolutely. And don't get me wrong. I mean, my daughter and I've got a 23-year-old daughter, and there were years when I told her my menopause trumped her puberty. So it's there's always the lessons, but I think that the key is, and I talk to people a lot about this when you're working in family business, is that you're all working for a common goal. And it was really important to me that my children weren't raised with a silver spoon or feeling like they were trust fund babies. And so from the time they were little, they work with me, showing apartments, cleaning apartments. To this day, if we drive by one of our buildings and there's trash outside, we get out and pick it up. And I think that that's the key lesson, is just starting from an early age and explaining. I'm like, this is how we eat. And, if you want privilege and you want, your college education paid for, and you want these things, they have to learn that it's not just an entitlement, but there's an expectation to be a part of the process to get there.
How do you not blur the lines, or do you blur the lines? And if you blur the lines, how do you back out of it and correct it? Because the closest experience that I can relate is a partnership with my husband, is, working with my husband. And, the lines have to be very clear of when we are working and, when we're not. How does that work with a family business?
We are very close, and, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. There are times when those lines are blurred, and, we have a partnership agreement. We hold each other accountable. And my belief is that you let people shine at what they are good at. My mother, she's great at design. That's her forte. She can look at an apartment and say, this is the color of the walls, the floors, the cabinets, the counters. My son is amazing with social media and, networking with the public and understanding the laws and anything that's impacting our business. My daughter is great at marketing. I'm the people person. So I'm the front person that goes, and we're very hands-on in terms of, showing the properties and what we're doing. And so it's kind of like everybody knows what their lane is, and we just hold each other accountable. And we meet frequently and discuss. And if somebody is falling off where they should be handling, it's addressed right then and there.
What is your advice with, I feel like people are in shambles in terms of, a lot of my audience is entrepreneurs. And so with the current climate in terms of the economy, a lot of people are transitioning, out of entrepreneurship back into, full-time employment. A lot of people are afraid right now to invest their money. What is your, just a high level bird's eye, view of advice for what people should be doing right now in this economy? Do you feel like this is a good time to be investing? Do you think this is a good time to be investing in real estate? Do you think people should be holding off and waiting? What is your advice, with your decade of experience?
I always say cash erodes, equity grows, and it's just time, proven time and again. My vehicle has been real estate, and I use this acronym I call REAL, and I feel it's universal in any business that you do. First, the R is do your research. The foundation of any successful business is to dig in and understand the research of what it is that you're trying to accomplish. E, like for me with real estate, if I'm looking at investing in a property, I check out if there's anything that's going to impact the value. Like, is there a light rail coming in? What's the grocery stores look like? The parks, anything. And I like to research and get value add properties. So I will find the worst property in the best neighborhood and fix it up and create my own equity. The E is expand your network. That is truly one of the most powerful tools in my treasure trove. When my parents started out in 1950 as young Black people, it was during a time of segregation, Jim Crow laws, and redlining. They didn't have any money, but they expanded their network, and they partnered with already established business partners that had capital, and they put up the down payment. My parents would do the work. They worked a few years, refinanced, pulled out the capital, and reinvested it into the next property. And I'm on so many boards. For example, I've been on the board of the Museum of Popular Culture for 9 years, and that is MoPop here in Seattle. The founder was Paul Allen, who was the co-founder of Microsoft. And the people that I have met through this board are incredible. I mean, talk about expanding my network. For 25 years, I've hosted a holiday party for Treehouse for Foster Kids, and I invite people to come bring presents for foster kids. And the network that I've created from that has been incredible. So you never know where your partners are going to be. The third A is amplifying injustice. A closed mouth does not get fed. So, and growing up, I mean, my childhood was unlike most. We literally had to put pickets on banks to expose redlining and not the banks not allowing funding in our community. And, we would come to terms and negotiate and, get our loans. People often say, oh, well, that was in the 50s and 60s. 2 weeks ago, there was this Dr. Raven Baxter, and she is out of Virginia, and she found her dream home, beautiful Black neuroscience doctor. When she put in her full price offer, the white 82-year-old home seller realized a Black woman was buying it, and she said, I'm not selling. So Dr. Baxter went to her 168,000 contacts on social media, amplified the injustice, and got the house. So I can't express, if somebody is not treating you right, amplify the injustice. And the last is L, and that's leverage. And, leverage the relationships that you've created when you've expanded your network. And don't be afraid to go to the banks and demand what they are offering.
Oh, okay. Acronym. We love a good acronym over here. I appreciate that. So for somebody listening to this though, and they're thinking, to your point, well, that worked back then, maybe that doesn't work now. Does the strategy that you just shared that your parents used, is that the same strategy that you would advise someone who may not have, all of the funds needed to get into investing in real estate? Would you encourage them to partner with someone, to work on one property, build up that equity, go to the next? Is that the strategy you encourage people to take?
I can't stress it enough, because that's the number one complaint that people come and say, well, I don't have the capital. And I'm like, well, who do you know that does? And that also falls in line with finding mentors. In my book, I interview several of the mentors that, have come from, some of them have come from established family backgrounds. Other ones are what I call fire starters that just went out to change the narrative. And, when I take mentors on, and when I mentor others, I just look at what they need to do to get to the finish line. And, finding associations with people that can help you, it's too valuable to pass up.
So then, and because you mentioned nurturing those relationships, if you don't have it, who do you know that does?
Yep.
And I do believe that social media, we can talk about the negatives of social media all day, but the gift in actually being social on social media is that you can truly build rapport and create relationships with literally complete strangers. But for people who may not have a true in real life network, like they can actually call people up on the phone, send that email, and they're going to get a response. What is your best advice for someone looking to grow their network?
Get involved in the community, volunteer. There are so many in every major metropolitan, even small communities. There are organizations that are looking for your time and your expertise. And there are things that people have that don't cost money. I teach tennis. I'm a tennis player. I teach tennis to kids at Nativity School, which is a homeless school here in Seattle. And, the network that I have found, through engaging with these children, and it's good. You can't receive with a clenched fist. It's so good to give, and it just comes back 100-fold. And so I'm just saying, look for opportunities. If you're interested in real estate this weekend, go out and look at open houses, engage with the realtors, talk to them.
So it really is just that simple of getting out there and opening up your mouth. Get in the room and open your mouth when you get there.
That's right. Pass out your cards, tell them what you're interested in, call somebody up, hey, can I take you to Starbucks and get a cup of coffee? I need to pick your brain.
So when you were, I lost my train of thought. What was I about to ask you? Not the relationships. Oh, this is what I was going to say. I was so impressed when I was doing my research to prepare for this episode, and I was on your website and I was looking at, the organizations that you have worked with. But when I saw the organizations that you serve on, like you are members of the board and you're doing, community service and philanthropy work, the question that just kept popping out was how? How are you doing all of this? When you say I'm teaching tennis down to the kids at the school, all I'm thinking is like, how many hours are there in your day? Like, how are you doing all of this?
It's saying sleep when you're dead. I really just feel so fortunate. I get up every day, and not to sound cliche, but I have to have something to love, something to do, and something to look forward to. And I mean, I am the queen of multitasking. If I want to work out and I don't have time, I'll incorporate, going to show an apartment and walk there, and, have my headphones.
88% of the work week is spent communicating, so it's important your team does it well. Enter Grammarly. Grammarly's AI helps teams communicate clearly the first time. It shows you how to make words resonate with your audience, helps with brainstorming, and lets you instantly create and revise drafts in just one click. Join over 70,000 teams and 30 million people who use Grammarly to move work forward. Go to grammarly.com/enterprise to learn more. Grammarly, enterprise-ready AI.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey, I'm Ryan Reynolds. Recently, I asked Mint Mobile's legal team if big wireless companies are allowed to raise prices due to inflation. They said yes. And then when I asked if raising prices technically violates those onerous 2-year contracts, they said, "What the f*** are you talking about, you insane Hollywood ass?" So to recap, we're cutting the price of Mint Unlimited from $30 a month to just $15 a month. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes. See details.
And listen to a book on tape or take care of meetings. And I mean, I just think that people spend so much time that's just useless. And it's like, if you really, they say get up and do the worst first, get the things out of the way that you have to do. And then as the day comes, you can find time for things that you really enjoy. One thing I found, Damon John wrote the foreword to my book, and he said, I just don't watch television. He's like, it's really a waste of time, and I'm not getting anything out of it. Now, I'm not that person. At the end of the day, I love to crawl in bed, turn on my Netflix, and enjoy myself. And I'm not that disciplined, but I really do feel if people create more discipline, and I'm a list maker, and I write down, and I check it off. What am I going to accomplish today? And, at the end of the day, if I have not accomplished that list, then that's a problem.
Live by the list. My problem is I want to put 1,000 things on the list, and then I'm mad at myself when I get to it.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing, is when you make the list, really ask yourself, if it's for monetization, how am I going to monetize this? Does this really matter? Is this really going to make a difference to what I'm trying to achieve?
At this point in your life, Dana, what do friendships look like for you?
My friendships are so vital. I mean, yesterday I have a group of girlfriends, and they purchased 60 copies of my book in honor of my 60th birthday coming up. And they donated it to the College Success Foundation, which helps children from, college students from marginalized backgrounds get educated. And it's just like, I was so thoughtful. It truly took my breath away, because my friends get me, and we all basically have the same core beliefs. I mean, I have one of my best friends, she's my sister, literally. her passion is for wildlife and conservation. So, we support her. I have another one that is with this College Success Foundation. Her name is Stacy, and, we support her. And so it's like whatever someone's cause is, we come together, we support the cause, but, we really lift each other up. And that's the beauty of the friendships. I mean, and I treasure it even more as I get older, because I know I can depend on them. I know they have my back unconditionally. And it's just a beautiful thing. I cannot imagine my life without they're not even my friends. They're my sisters.
I love that. We've had, several conversations around the fact that society wants to only push the importance of marriage and, not dying alone, quote unquote, get married so you don't die alone. But statistics shows that the quality of your life later in life is defined more so by your friendships than it is by the relationship that you have with your spouse. And I don't think we put enough emphasis on creating those quality friendships, creating those relationships that are truly reciprocal, creating those relationships that can, just add value to your life, especially, as we move through life and go through things. And, it's just so beneficial, but I don't think we put enough emphasis on interpersonal relationships.
Without a doubt. And I'll add there, I mean, I'm not in a traditional marriage. My husband lives in Nashville. I live in Seattle. I've been married. This is my second marriage. I've been married 2.5 years. And I have a lot of single girlfriends, and they're just like, oh my goodness, it's slim pickings out here on dating sites. And, how do you find a good quality partner? And I'm like, don't be geographically limited. Look around. And I mean, when my husband and I get together, it's like date night. I mean, we see each other every couple of weeks, every 10 days, I'd say. And, it's wonderful. But, I would never allow my marriage to come between my relationship with my girlfriends, because it's just that sacred to me.
Okay, knock my socks off. A long distance marriage. Please tell me more. Please tell me more. How did this happen?
So as I said, I live in Seattle. I met my husband. He was living here in Seattle as well. And I was married at the time, and he had never been married. This is his first marriage. And so when we both became single, he came to me and he was just like, okay, I have great news. We're both single. Bad news. I've just accepted my dream job in Nashville. So, I mean, we literally, this was 8 years ago, and we literally just started this commute, and his job keeps him on the road a lot. So he's like, okay, I've got to be in Chicago this week, LA next week. And so I would just fly to meet him. And, it was just like, what, this works. And because he had been so independent alone, and I was not at this stage of my life looking to be a nurse or a purse, it was nice and refreshing to find a man that, could take care of himself, that knows how to cook and clean and do all those things on his own. So it's really a partnership. And it's just, I feel very fortunate. And, we really, it's like we always joke, and we're like, well, we're always happy to see each other.
Yes, absence make the heart go fonder. There is no truer phrase. There are definitely challenges to the distance, but there's nothing like, picking somebody up from the airport, or just that ride, looking forward to, seeing someone that you're looking forward to seeing.
I agree. And we talk multiple times on the day, and we FaceTime, and we'll watch the same shows, and, we sit and talk about them and read the same books. And, when we're on our walks, we're talking. I mean, it's really, it feels really healthy and really right.
Do y'all have plans to live in the same city, or are you just kind of like playing it by ear, going with the flow? This works right now, so let's keep going.
Yeah, and we're very fortunate because we're both investors. He comes from a real estate background as well, and so we've got a home in Nashville, home in Arizona, home here in Seattle, and it's like we'll just make it work. But there's no definite plans right now.
I love this. That is so encouraging, especially for people who just box themselves in to feel like their life can only look this one way. Their relationships, their work, their marriage, their friendships, like it can only look this very traditional way. And so I love that you are proof that you've, found your way, found your flow, found what works for you. And, it works. So I love that.
Thank you, Coriel. Yeah, it's special.
Now, let me tell you what I don't love. Actually, let's talk about the book before I get into this menopause thing, because we're gonna have to end on the menopause conversation because I just feel
Okay, you got it.
the shit that's coming over.
Just don't get hot.
It's gonna get hot, exactly. But let's talk about your book. So this book, Get Up, hold on, I want to say the name right. Get Up and Get On It, a Black entrepreneur's lessons on creating legacy and wealth. Now, obviously, everybody needs to get a copy of it. But what would you say is, like, if you don't walk away knowing or understanding anything else, what do you think is that one thing that you really want your readers to walk away with?
So I love this question. Last week, I did the keynote at Breedlove College cohort in Chicago. And it's the cohort is for later stage minority, Black and brown female entrepreneurs. And I said, there's no late stage. We're always right on time. I'm almost 60 and I've published my first book. And the thing I want to come across most impactful in this read is that despite what your birth circumstances may have dictated, you can change the narrative. And at the end of each chapter, I give tools called Get Up and Get On It. And, they're just real direct instructions on what you need to do to change the narrative. And I talk to people every day from all walks of life. And, it's just like, okay, you say you want this. And it's the old adage of work today like few can so you can live tomorrow like few can't. And, that's what the book is about. It's just, I look at my parents, I just marvel that against all odds, what they were able to do. And then me as a steward of keeping what they were able to create and growing it. And now watching the next generation with my children doing that, it's possible. And that's the message that I really, really want to hone in, is that, the choice is yours. You just have to make action and make it happen.
So what is your advice for parents who do not want to raise spoiled, entitled children who don't have to work for anything? Like, how do you balance providing a wonderful life for your children without taking away their need to work for what they want?
I think the most important thing is really instilling a work ethic early. And in my case, my parents always wanted us to understand, what the world looked like. On childhood vacations, my father was from Detroit, my mother was from Chicago. We used to drive across country every summer, and we always made a stop to the Robert Taylor housing projects because they wanted us to see firsthand, that this bubble that we lived in is not what the whole world looked like. And, I just think that there are things for parents to do. I take my children when they were younger down to the Union Gospel Mission, and we'd go out on night rescues and, hand out socks and hand out, supplies to the homeless. And I just believe that seeing is believing, and putting children, get rid of the Xbox, turn the TV off, talk to your kids, get involved. And, when they see and they understand that they have choices, that's the game changer.
It's parenting is the scariest. It's the scariest thing. It's like I talked to a mom a couple of weeks ago. I recorded an interview, and she was just talking about the fact that it's just a gamble. You can give your kids just everything, and then they still have to make choices for themselves.
Yeah.
And, I'm at the beginning of my parenting journey. Like, my oldest is 3, so he ain't making no choices for himself at this point. But when I think about, like, me just having the trust that I've done all that I can do, and you're just, God is going to carry you through, that to me just seems like such a scary thought. Oh my goodness.
Well, one of the poems, and that's the other thing in my book, the beginning of each chapter starts with a poem because I love poetry. And one of my favorite poems growing up was "Children live what they learn." And it's just true. They are watching. Your little 3-year-old, he is watching every move you make. And it's instilled. It becomes a part of his DNA.
That makes it even scarier. Oh, okay. So speaking of scary, menopause is super scary because most of us don't know anything about it until we are just on fire. And so this is another conversation that continues to come up. I am turning 40 next year. And so just in preparing for such a milestone, I have been, down all the rabbit holes. And so when I saw that you have, I think it's called, is it Menopause Barbies?
Yes, my sister and I had a blog for about 15 years called Menopause Barbies, and our tagline was "We're getting older, but we're still dolls."
Yes.
And
What was the mission behind it? Tell us about it.
you know, so my sister went through menopause early. She was your age, about 40 years old, and I was late. And my mother had sailed through menopause, so I'm like, okay, please let me have Mama's genes. And I'm 55 years old. I'm sitting in the airport. My husband and I are heading overseas to Portugal. And all of a sudden, and this was during COVID, I have this heat that comes over me that I cannot even begin to describe. And I look at my husband and I go, oh, no, I've got COVID. And I'm like, we have to cancel the trip. Are you still with me?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I hit the wrong button. And I go, we're going to have to cancel the trip. I know I have COVID. And he's just like, no. And then, it passed over. And so I come back, we make the trip, and, these flashes kept coming and going. And I mean, it was absolutely, I was soaking wet. And I'm just like, this is hell on earth. And so I reach out to my doctor, and, I'm just like, look, I can't, I can't do this. And so they tried all of these different methods. They put me on this psychotropic medication called venlafaxine. And I mean, it was absolutely horrific. It was worse than the hot flashes. And so I kept going through everything. I mean, I had the ice cubes in the freezer. I had, you name it, I tried it. And, finally, I just looked into the HRT. And, it has been working beautiful for me. I highly recommend, the listeners, if they're having an issue with it, talk to your doctor and see if it's an option. Study your risk of, what that looks like. But it gave me my life back.
So the fact that the first step is, okay, let's try a bunch of prescriptions, or let's try a bunch of let's just
Right.
experiment and figure out. I am so anti let's just try, like I'm gonna try a bunch of pills. Knowing what you know now, what is your recommendation for someone like me?
I would really, as the perimenopause kicks on, I would seek my OB and just, explain to them what your concerns on, raise the risk and the benefits of HRT. I mean, it helps with your heart. There's a lot of benefits there as well. And, like I'm on the lowest dose of the patch that there is, but it's taken away all of those miserable symptoms. I mean, I feel like I'm 25 again.
Oh, okay. That sounds promising. So there is hope out here. I just think that these conversations, it's so many conversations that you literally, if you've never been exposed to these conversations, when you find yourself going through things, you will feel like you are crazy. You are the only person that is experiencing this. You thought you had COVID, like you will not even be able to pinpoint what it is if you've never even been exposed to the conversation. So I truly, truly appreciate you sharing your experience and, also sharing a resource.
Again, it's that R from the real acronym, doing your research. I mean, I had no idea that, oral progesterone can, reduce your breast cancer risk. I mean, there's all kind of benefits there. You just hear about the scary stuff, but there's also benefits. So, just do the research, see your doctor, but it is a quality of life. You want to feel good when you get up and get on it.
That is true. Look, come on, perfect segue. Okay, so get up and get on it. Tell the people where they can find a copy of the book, and also where they can find you online, support what you got going on, and stay connected.
Thank you, Coriel. So thrilled to share that the book is #1 on Amazon and Business, #1 in Barnes and Noble. We won the International Impact Award, the Pinnacle Reader's Favorite, and just yesterday we got became a finalist for the International Book Award. My website is www.therealdanafrank.com. And I have, I'm on all social media platforms from The Real Dana Frank, and Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. You can find me at The Real Dana Frank on any of those. And yeah, I so appreciate this opportunity to share and just, help amplify people having the best lives that they can live.
This was such a valuable, therapeutic conversation and inspirational conversation for sure, of what is possible when you decide to just get up and get on it. So I will make sure we link all of your contact down below. We'll also drop the link for the book so that you all can find Dana, follow her, and support. Thank you so much, Dana, for lending yourself today to us. We have truly enjoyed this, and I appreciate you for being a guest on Girl Stop Playing.
Thank you, Coriel. When I hit Atlanta, I'll make sure I reach out.
Please do. Y'all listen, like, comment, subscribe to the channel, and make sure you share this episode. I love y'all, and I'll catch you next week. Peace out. So if you enjoyed that episode, I'm willing to bet you are absolutely going to get your entire life when you log on to everybodylied.com. Y'all, I just launched my brand new blog, which is for women like me who are stepping into the newness of life, okay? Your girl got engaged, got pregnant, got married, and became a mom all in less than a year, and life came at me fast. As life was life, and I realized that a lot of the things that I had been led to believe were a lie. Survey says that was a lie. And so I am sharing all of my lessons learned and what I have discovered to be the truth, along with some resources on my new blog, everybodylied.com. Come on over if you are a woman who is experiencing the newness of life. I'll see you there.
Holiday magic is in the air at iFly Indoor Skydiving. Imagine unwrapping the experience of flight. iFly is the perfect unique gift for anyone who wants to turn their dream of flying into a joyful reality. It's unforgettable fun for all ages. Save over 35% with iFly's limited time holiday gift voucher flight packages. Turn dreams into unforgettable moments with the gift of flight. Go to iFlyWorld.com to purchase your holiday gift vouchers. That's iFlyWorld.com.
Build up to Black Friday with savings all month long at Lowe's. Get up to 50% off select major appliances. Plus, take an additional 10% off when you buy select major appliances. And don't wait to pick up holiday inflatables under $20. Don't wait to save, in-store or online now, because Lowe's knows deals. Valid 11/6 through 12/4. Cannot be combined with additional discounts. See Lowe's.com for details and qualifying items while supplies last.